time since 1998. Coming off their first loss of the season, they look to their backcourt leader, Chaz Williams, to get back on track. Standing in the way is Bryce Cotton and the Providence Friars. New England rivals face off next.
Center on the campus of UMass. A sellout crowd on this unseasonably warm day. It's the number 22 UMass Minutemen hosting the Providence Friars. Hi everybody, Kevin Connors, Connecticut Sun and former Tennessee star Kara Lawson. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you. Great regional rivalry tonight, great atmosphere here inside this building. And we've got a terrific matchup here, Kara. This UMass basketball team away from the national scene for a long time, but they are back. This team is for real.
They are back with a vengeance. I mean, this is a team that has such balance on the offensive end. 5 double-figure scorers, one of the best playmaking guards in the country in Chaz Williams. They are electric in transition. It is pivotal for Providence tonight to try and dictate tempo.
A one-on-one on the court, about as good as our one-on-one matchup. Chaz Williams, 3rd in the nation in assists. And Kara, he's going up against the reigning Big East scoring champion in Bryce Cotton.
Well, Bryce Cotton's so important to this Providence team. He had to go back to the point guard position due to the injury to Chris Dunn. He scores, he's able to pass the basketball. He's going to have to play 40 minutes, and then the bounce back ability. The Minutemen, they're coming off their first loss of the season. They'd rolled through the non-conference slate up to this point. How did they perform off of that tough offensive performance against the Florida State Seminoles?
And what some people consider to be a controversial loss, more on that coming up. Look at the Providence starters here. Kadeem Batts, 2nd leading scorer for the Friars. He went over the 1,000-point plateau last Saturday in a win against Maine. 3 double-doubles already this season. And for UMass, Caddy Lalane, boy, he's really come on this season. The junior, 2nd on the team in scoring as well. MVP of the Charleston Classic after averaging a double-double. The officials, Ed Corbett, Clarence Armstrong, and Wally Ratecki. We are underway from the Mullins Center. UMass in the home gray, Providence in the road whites. What kind of tempo does Providence want to play at, Kara?
Well, Providence is not afraid to run, but the reality of Ed Cooley's situation is that he really only has 2 guards available, and that's Bryce Cotton and Josh Fortune. So they're going to look and pick their spots to run, but they certainly don't want this to be up and down for 40 minutes.
Tyler Harris, back rim, younger brother of Tobias Harris, Orlando Magic forward. And this is the electrifying Chaz Williams. Give us something to watch for offensively for UMass.
Oh, with UMass, I mean, a lot of it starts with number 3. That's Chaz Williams with the basketball. They love to run a lot of high pick action for him, allow him to use his quickness to get into the lane.
Turnover, and the Friars have numbers. Here's Harris driving coast to coast, and the Friars are on the board.
No, he's a nice player. He's been a great addition for Ed Cooley. The transfer out of NC State, sat out a season ago, gives them a nice, smooth scoring option from that forward position.
Gordon gives it up, has it battered away by Batts, and it'll stay UMass possession. All 5 UMass starters for head coach Derek Kellogg, averaging in double figures. And what a turnaround job Kellogg has done here in Amherst.
You know, it's really started with Chaz Williams. He transferred from Hofstra after a freshman season there, and he has really spurred the turnaround with his energy, with his leadership, and with his ability to make his teammates better.
Helps to have a point guard.
Absolutely.
Here's Harris in transition again, and Harris flushing it down. Providence out to the 4-0 lead. Williams the other way.
And that's what we talked about, the opportunistic running, right? I mean, Providence had something. They pass ahead. They get Harris the good look there. Not feeling like they have it. Let's run some offense and make UMass work on the defensive end.
There's Cotton behind a screen. Cotton firing for the first time and too strong. And now Gordon gives it up. 3 on the way. It is off the mark, and the rebound, second effort by UMass. Caddy Lalane breaking the ice.
No, he's a load down there, and he does so much to help their overall field goal percentage because of how good he is on the offensive glass. 35% of Caddy Lalane's offense comes off of offensive rebounds, helping this team with second shot opportunities.
Here's Cotton directing the half-court set. Harris has had the hot hand early, not this time, and it's Samson Carter who gobbles it up. This is a deeper UMass team than Providence can boast. And of course, the electric Chaz Williams is the star to watch in this one. Working his way to the basket as the lane, muscling it up, and Cotton will lead things the other way. Drops it off. Basket will count, and an opportunity for a three-point play from LaDante Henton.
I love early how Providence has really executed their numbers breaks. I mean, 3-on-2, 2-on-1. Great job there by Williams, a great finish there by LaDante Henton. They have to take advantage of these opportunities. This is a team that's not very deep, but they cannot be afraid to run, particularly off of misses and turnovers.
Who got shoot?
Well, we mentioned Kadeem Batts went over 1,000 points earlier this season. Henton did as well, did so in the win over Fairfield. And a hot start for Providence. They lead 7-2, about 3 minutes into this one.
You know, just how you would draw it up if you're Ed Cooley, right? I mean, this is a arena that's almost sold out, and the people want to get behind this team early, and great job by Providence to take the crowd of it in the first few minutes.
Here's Gordon, and a teardrop for Derek Gordon. It was also the first game in a week for these two teams. They both have the Christmas holiday off. Carol, what's it like after a week off getting back at it?
The worst is the practice. You know, having played college basketball, that first practice out for winter break, coaches usually do a good job of having you get up and down because you probably haven't done much of anything those last 2 or 3 days.
Work off some of the Christmas cookies and what have you. Here's Williams. Down low, drops it off. Putney's attempt is too strong, but it's tipped back up and in. And we see UMass go into the three-quarter court pressure. As Kara pointed out, Providence will run when you let them or when they choose, averaging 72.5 points per game, but that's the style that UMass wants to play for the most part, most of the time, the frenetic pace. Here's Fortune driving, strong right-handed finish.
Yeah, that's a big bucket for that young man, Josh Fortune. I think he has more to give on the offensive end for Ed Cooley's squad, and he played a lot of minutes last year as a freshman, but I think he's a guy moving into Big East play that they're going to just need more aggressiveness from, more production from on the offensive end.
He's played well against some of the bigger name opponents as Gordon will work his way to the line. Fortune had 15 in the win over Boston College earlier this season, 10 against Kentucky. Hot start here inside the Mullins Center. Providence, the early three-point lead. Winning games in this building, Derek Kellogg, former point guard under John Calipari here at UMass, and now the head coach of the Minutemen. And styles make fights, Carol Lawson, and we've got two different styles here today.
Well, UMass, and we've seen them early on kind of have their transition game stifled a little bit by Providence. That Providence has done a great job of dictating tempo, but this is such a fun UMass team to watch. I mean, they've got terrific athleticism. They've got a playmaker in Chaz Williams that can get into the lane and create. This is an NCAA tournament type team, and with their 10-1 start, you know, they're starting to build a lot of momentum here in the Massachusetts area.
You say an NCAA tournament team as Derek Gordon sees the first free throw rim out. How good? I mean, are we talking about a team that makes it or a team that makes a run?
Well, I certainly think, you know, NCAA tournament's all about matchups, but I certainly think this is a team that's got to be the favorite heading into the Atlantic 10 with how they've played in the non-conference. And if they play well in the Atlantic 10, they should garner a high seed. I could definitely see UMass being a team that could make the second weekend.
They've not shied away from anyone in the early season non-conference scheduling. Boston College, LSU, they were in the Charleston Classic. Knocked off a good New Mexico team, Clemson as well. BYU, one of the showcase games for Chaz Williams as well, as it's last touched by Tyler Harris. Well, we mentioned the schedule here. Much like John Calipari, UMass under Derek Kellogg will play anybody.
They will, and you know, the one thing about this is you look at that Florida State game, and yes, they lost that game, and everybody knows Leonard Hamilton's teams, I mean, they're physical. They're going to get after you defensively. UMass shot 1 for 15 from beyond the arc in that game, 33% from the field, but they had an opportunity to win the game, and they defended well enough to win that game. A lot of times teams that play like they do up and down can't win those 60 to 55 games, and I think UMass proved, even though they lost it, that they have the ability to defend at a high level.
So coming off your first loss of the season, if you're Derek Kellogg, what specifically do you want to see from your team?
Well, you know, for them, it was really that they couldn't shoot. I mean, they couldn't make baskets. I mean, they couldn't score. And so for me, keeping that energy on the defensive end, but trying to bust loose if you can. Like this.
Throws it up, and Maxi Esho on the receiving end.
Yeah, that's the danger with UMass against a turnover or a bad shot that's like a turnover. They get out and go the other way, and they are electric finishing in transition.
Getting the Mullins center into this one for really the first time today. Here's Henton, and he gets the friendly roll. Adante Henton.
Providence going to this 2-3 zone, and we'll see them go to that when they go to their bigger lineup. Remember, we mentioned they don't have guards coming off the bench, so when they go big, they're going to have to try and score. And look again, turnover there by Bryce Cotton, and that is what fuels the offensive fire for UMass. Great little alley-oop. Esho, Putney, you got to watch those guys in transition because they'll come over and dunk on your head.
They got just a host of 6'7", 6'8" athletic guys, and Derek Kellogg has made no bones about it. He says he loves recruiting that kind of player for this system. I guess any coach would like recruiting that kind of player.
That type of athleticism, absolutely.
Here's Fortune, turns it over. Williams pushing the tempo, crossover, drops it off. And it's batted away from Carter. Cotton the other way. Henton on the break, and Providence showing it can run.
That's just great counterattack action by Providence, looking to run off that miss. A defensive play by DeRozier, but we talk about this 2-3 zone. When Providence subs and they put in DeRozier and they put in Goldsboro, I think we'll see them go 2-3 zone a ton with those guys on that back line because it's a tough matchup against some of those UMass forwards for them man-to-man.
Ray Davis thought about it. And Clarence Armstrong catching him for a traveling violation. Now look at Ed Cooley in his third season at Providence, hired in March of 2011, had tremendous success at Fairfield. He's a Providence, Rhode Island native, and Kara, he is half the man he used to be. Lost over 100 pounds. Congratulations to him. He says he still has a little bit of a ways to go.
He told me at shoot-around he was going to run 7 miles after shoot-around before the game today. So he said he's committed to getting his workouts in.
7 miles. Red Cooley, true story, did not recognize him when he walked in the building. I haven't seen him in 2 years. And there it is, Kara, the secret to the success right there on the protein shake.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the secrets to success. Ed Cooley also credits his wife and his kids for jumping on board. He had stomach sleeve surgery in the offseason and was limited to a 400-calorie-a-day liquid diet there in the beginning and has lost over 109 pounds, trying to get down to his college weight, and looks great. And it's been a great example for you know, his players too, just of the discipline and the consistency he's had to have over the last few months.
Has to be pleased with this start as the Friars stay in the 2-3 zone, 7-point lead. Here's Williams, his first 3 of the day, and it's gobbled up by DeRozier. And a lot of contact, and DeRozier called for the travel.
You know, he gets called for the travel there and the turnover, but I love DeRozier's activity early on, that back line. I mean, it's a 7-footer. He's been really active, blocking shots, getting defensive rebounds. That's what you have to do against UMass. Don't allow them second chance opportunities.
Marcin DeRozier, the transfer in from Wake Forest. Missed last season. We'll get into the storyline with this Providence team. It's in many ways about as much what they have on the floor as what they don't have on the floor. We'll talk about that here throughout the broadcast. 3 on the way by Trey Davis. The sophomore from DeSoto, Texas, a weapon off the bench for Derek Kellogg's team. Here's Henton, elbow jumper. Not this time. behind the screen. Here's Esho. Esho showing off the range.
Yeah, Esho's been really good on the offensive end lately. He's a guy that comes off the bench, and prior to that Florida State game, he had 3 consecutive double-figure scoring games. He brings them that ability off the bench to bring a spark, as he does right there.
Defensively, this time, Esho rocking the rim here inside the Mullins Center. Seven 0 run for UMass. Here's Bryce Cotton, his first 2 points of the game.
Already you see how UMass can kind of make the game develop a little faster than you want it to, and sometimes their steals and their dunks, they feel like they're worth more than 2 points. I mean, the crowd gets behind it and you can get a little flustered. So I like how Providence kind of bounced back there after that turnover.
Here's Trey Davis, another 3, giving UMass its first lead. A 10-2 run for the Minutemen. And they're going to get a foul on Raphael Putney.
Maxi Esho, big-time performer off of the bench. A lot of energy from UMass comes from their steals and their dunks. They take the lead. They're up 1.
Back inside the Mullins Center, Kevin Connors, Kara Lawson, UMass, the number 23 team in America. 1-point lead midway through the first half. Get the new year started with a full slate of college football games on ESPN's family of networks. Noon Eastern on ESPN2, Nebraska faces number 22 Georgia in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. Noon Eastern on ESPNU, UNLV takes on North Texas in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. 1 Eastern on ABC, number 19 Wisconsin and number 9 South Carolina battle in the Capital One Bowl. And 1 Eastern on ESPN, Iowa takes on number 16 LSU in the Outback Bowl, all part of Capital One Bowl week. Now look at the scoring leaders for Providence on the season. 4 of the 5 starters in double figures. Bryce Cotton leading the way. But Kara, I mentioned earlier in the game, this is about as much who's on the floor for Providence as who is not.
Well, they lose Chris Dunn to season-ending shoulder surgery. He had that surgery yesterday, tore a different part of his labrum, one that he had surgery on prior to his freshman season, and that slid that young man right there from the 2 position to the 1 position. And 2 talented freshmen that have yet to step on the floor and won't step on the floor the rest of the season. Rodney Bullock, who's on the bench with the team, and then Brandon Austin, who's back home in Philadelphia area. So a lot of talent that has not been on the floor, and let's not forget. I mean, this is a team that had Ricky Lito as well last season that never played for them. It was supposed to play this year and was drafted in the NBA. So a lot of talent that Ed Cooley has not been able to have in uniform.
Austin and Bullock is suspended for what the school is saying not upholding their responsibilities as student athletes. There's some hope that those players might be available, but it does not happen, and so Ed Cooley is playing with the hand he's been dealt. This is Bryce Cotton behind a screen. Harris thought about it, had it sent back the other way. 5 on the shot clock. Cotton through the legs, fires a 3, too strong. It's Chaz Williams, senior point guard out of Brooklyn, New York. Three on the way, attempted at least by Davis, wanted to contact, didn't get the call. And it's 10 on the shot clock. Carter. And Hinton gobbles it up. Here's bats down low on a traveling violation. Sloppy play here, Kara, in the past 2 minutes.
Well, it was, and that's Providence's 5th turnover of the half. And, you know, the previous 4, the conversion rate for UMass, I mean, they were 4 for 4. They had 8 points off of those turnovers. So I have to believe that Ed Cooley talked to his team in a timeout is those live ball turnovers we've got to cut down, because UMass just does a great job of going from defense to offense so quickly.
The pacing right now, who's that favoring?
Well, I mean, right before the timeout, it was favoring UMass because they were able to get up and down the floor. I think Providence is doing a good job of making them play against half court. And when you do that, you can create opportunities like that. And they forced Chaz Williams into a carry.
A rare carrying violation called on Chaz Williams. UMass, a 1-point lead. We're coming back after this timeout.
Well, up to this point, there's really not much that he can't do on the offensive end. Certainly has improvements to make on the defensive end, but what a talent Mike Krzyzewski has down there in Durham.
It still is strange calling Syracuse an ACC team. But boy, you think of the upcoming battles this season, Syracuse and Duke, North Carolina Duke, what they always are. People feel it is among, if not the best conference college basketball has ever seen.
And oh yeah, Louisville joins next year.
Exactly right. Second effort that time by Tyler Harris.
You know, we talked about the depth issues for Providence and really not playing. I mean, it's not something that Ed Cooley said to us this morning. November 1st, I thought we were a team that could win the Big East. And then with the injuries and the suspensions, but when you look at UMass, you know, one of their flaws as a team is that they're not very deep. I mean, Derek Kellogg's rotation is about 8 players, and so should foul trouble occur, and we've seen Maxi Esho off to a strong start. I think the fact that he can give them some scoring ability helps, but this is not a very deep team. They play their main guys a lot of minutes.
No field goals for either team now, and going on 3 minutes as Williams keeps it on the string. Davis, he's already knocked down 2 from behind the arc, not this time. Kenton thought about it. Now quiet start for Kadeem Batts. Here's Bryce Cotton trying to reset the offense, 10 on the shot clock. They are really trying to establish Harris on that block, and a good-looking move. And Williams behind the screen, working on DeRozier, and a whistle and a foul. It's been an active start for Tyler Harris.
Yeah, well, Ed Cooley actually recognized the mismatch. I mean, he had Chaz Williams on him, so he calls down for the ISO, just a little drop-down pass, and Harris is able to split that double team that came. The double team had to come because he had that mismatch. Very composed. Doesn't seem rushed on the offensive end. A good offensive floor game for Tyler Harris to start.
So we've touched on those who aren't playing for Providence. It's time to give credit to those who are, and Harris has been a tremendous addition to this basketball team, transferring in from NC State for the senior year of high school ball at St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey. Gordon in the paint, has it sent the other way by DeRozier. Williams to Gordon. Second time around, he connects.
Yeah, you see how Chaz Williams gets everyone going. I mean, he could have taken that floater there. He could have on that steal just taken that floater, but he understands where he is, and he would have had to do it over the trees, and he finds Gordon there for the nice up and under.
Harris watched by Gordon. He's the top scorer for Providence with 8 points. Batts too strong on the jump hook. What do you think of the job Cotton has done on what they played some zone, but one-on-one against Williams?
Well, the biggest thing he's done is he's getting over the screens, and you have to do that. The ball screen action, Williams can be devastating off of that. So if Cotton can get over the screens and face him up, they're going to do a better job at being able to control UMass on the offensive end.
Maxi Esho will head to the line. Foul called on Kadeem Batts.
You know, not that Providence has played flawless basketball, but I feel like they've played the way they need to win this game. I mean, we talked about tempo and that it couldn't get too high for them. versus UMass. We've talked about them trying to stifle them and make them play against their half court offensively, changing defenses. I think Ed Cooley has to like where his team is at this juncture.
As we see Brice Kafani check in for the first time. And again, UMass setting up in the full court pressure now. Sellout crowd here at the Mullen Center for the first time in 8 years as Cotton throws it up. Kafani couldn't finish. Gordon drops it off. Esho. Too much in Providence. Will try to push. They've been strong in this aspect of the game. Harris in and out. Well, Williams may have gotten away with one that time. Gordon back iron. And they'll say Kafani had a foot on the line. We haven't seen Chaz Williams look for a shot as much here, Kara.
I think, you know, in transition, he's always going to look to give it up. And the thing you have to realize is he draws so much attention. He's going to draw multiple defenders when he gets into the lane. So he's found his teammates for some easy buckets.
First game in 7 days for both Providence and UMass. Friars coming in 10-2 on the season, just one loss for UMass, number 23 team in America, and an offensive foul called on the drive by Carter.
Providence, their half court defensively. I mean, Kadeem Batts, way to step in there, certainly outside of that circle and ready before Samson Carter started his upward motion. And, you know, Providence defensively, you know, if they can keep this up, have UMass play 4 out of 5 possessions against their half-court defense, keep them off balance with their man in zone. They have to be happy with where they are right now because they're able to control this team that can get things on a run and get going very quickly.
They're used to playing tight games. 5 of their 12 games are decided by 4 points or fewer. Batts took the charge on one end, and he gets in the scorebook on the other. Williams gives it up. 3 on the way by Carter, and UMass is back on top.
So he doesn't have to score for them to be effective, and he draws so much attention. He's so good. Everyone spreads out beyond the three-point line. They know that if they're open, Chaz Williams, he will find you, and he's going to give you a good opportunity to score.
A little bit too much body that time by Derek Gordon. And they'll call the UMass guard for his first foul. Back and forth, and a tight one here. They have a sellout for the first time in 8 years. The number 23 team in America, a 1-point lead on Providence. And it's the preseason Cousy Award nominee, Kara Lawson, who's been a big reason why.
Chaz Williams has 6 assists in the first half, and that's what makes him one of the top guards in the country. You see, he's 3rd in the NCAA a year ago with assists. He's currently 3rd right now. And, you know, it's funny, there was a lot of talk this week kind of leading into that Louisville-Kentucky game that Anish referenced about Russ Smith and how he's kind of changed his game, how he's become more of a playmaker and become more efficient. And he has, and it's been a terrific job. I had to chuckle a little bit because a guy like Chaz Williams has done that his entire career here at UMass. And I think with his team starting to get some of that national attention, people are starting to appreciate what a national level guard that Chaz Williams is.
Senior, rare that you see that anymore among players with NBA potential as Cotton misfires. And Williams, one of the best individual performances of the season earlier this year against BYU. 32 points, 15 assists as Lane spins and scores, giving UMass its largest lead of the game. Back to Chaz Williams. Kara, 15 assists, 1 turnover in that game against BYU.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, he can score, he can create. He doesn't turn the basketball over. I mean, this is a complete player. And when you watch them practice, when you watch them at shoot-around, he's the energy guy. I mean, he communicates. He's so positive. He's the leader of this team. He's just a competitor.
And they try to find Williams, and boy, Williams and Harris colliding. Looks like they cracked heads there. And it's Harris who's the worse for the wear. And the insult on top of injury there, he's called for the foul, Carol.
It's just two guys going after it. Mid-air collision, and you'd think in that situation that Chaz Williams might come away with the worst of it, but looks like Tyler Harris does.
Second foul on Harris. It was an elbow to the head, and so Harris checks out. You see Carson DeRozier back in the game for the Friars. Tight first half. Providence has led for much of it, but UMass with its largest lead right now at 3. Gordon working on Henton. Has it blocked by Henton. 4th block of the game for Providence. Batts gives it up. Good teamwork, and Cotton finds the bottom of the net. Solid first half for the Friars against the number 23 team in America. They trail by just 1. Again, they've led for much of the first half, and sloppy play by UMass, another turnover. We haven't seen the scoring we expected from the 2-point guards, but both of the two players, Chaz Williams and Bryce Cotton, getting their teammates involved, and it's a 1-point game. Fortune turns it over, and it's a backcourt violation called on the Friars. All right, Kara, 2:06 to go here. Get that thought in a moment. Monday on ESPNU, it's a college basketball doubleheader starting at 7 Eastern. Robert Morris takes on number 7 Oklahoma State and Marcus Smart. Followed at 9 Eastern, St. Louis battles Vanderbilt. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. What do both coaches want to see?
Well, execution for UMass against the zone or against the half-court defense. I think that's got to be the theme the last 2 minutes, and the theme the final 20 minutes for them, executing in the half-court. For Providence, keep doing that. I mean, their attack off of misses has been so good here in this first half, finding clean looks at the basket.
Providence has yet to knock down a 3, and yet they lead the number 23 team in America by a point. Now called on Bryce Cotton. That is his first, just the 6th team foul, so UMass still 1 away from the bonus. Lane thought about it, and boy, DeRozier there on that back line making a difference again. 3 on the way by Davis, and last touched by Lane.
You know, we talked about how Providence has struggled with their numbers, but you know, you really have to credit Ed Cooley and the job he's done. They're 10-2. I mean, they're 10-2, and you read the articles and about the team, and you know, we could be this and we could be that, but what they are is a pretty darn good team heading into Big East play.
As Henton is too strong on the 3, and he'll get Batts on the foul on the rebound attempt. And by the way, those 2 losses coming against name brand programs in Maryland and Kentucky. You're right. I did a Providence game 2 years ago, and Ed Cooley told me, looked me right in the eye, and he said, we are going to turn this thing around. And they've gotten players, they just haven't had them on the court as much as he would like. But 10-2 is a pretty good start for this team, despite what they've had to overcome. Under a minute to go in the first half. Fortune on Williams. Williams blows past it. Second effort and a big time putback by Maxi Esho. Couple of highlight reel dunks in this first half by Maxi Esho. UMass a 1-point lead. Here's Fortune, elbow jumper, and the Friars are back on top. Williams will hold for one. Providence back in the 2-3 zone. 3 on the game clock. Lane has it battered away by DeRozier. 5th block of the first half by this Providence defense, and Carson DeRozier in limited minutes making a difference defensively. Number 23 down by 1 at the half. It's been a game effort from Providence. Now let's join the studio crew, Anish Shroff and Adrian Branch. Guys.
Kevin, can't predict basketball. Providence with a 1.
This UMass offense, I mean, 38% from the field. They've really held them down and not enabled them to get going on the offensive end of the floor.
How does UMass get going here in the second half?
Well, you see that there. I mean, they're holding them to 38%. It's UMass coming off a game against Florida State, their first loss of the season, where they only shot 33% from the field. How do they get going? Continue to get stops, pound the offensive glass. They had 8 in the first half, and they have a couple guys that need to give them better production. One is Putney with the ball right there.
Held to just 2 points in the first half. 0 points for Chaz Williams. He does have 6 assists, but he's yet to score. He's only been held in single digits once this season, and Kara immediately they set it up, and Williams works his way to the free throw line. One of the most decorated players in the history of this program, and Derek Kellogg, his head coach, again a player who played here with some of the best, Marcus Camby and Lou Rose, says, Kara, he's one of the best to ever put on the uniform.
Well, he's certainly been one of the most important. You know, this is a UMass program, as you talked about. It has such a great history. They have not been to the NCAA tournament since 1998. And this is a team that is firmly entrenched for an NCAA tournament bid. And Chaz Williams is the reason why, because of his energy and because of his playmaking ability.
2-time All-Atlantic 10 performer. 1 of 2 from the line, and we're back tied at 29. Cotton, nice backdoor cut, and Batts recognizes. Williams gives it up, and on the drive, a lot of contact, no call, but Samson Carter's able to finish. Carter struggled shooting the ball against Florida State, just 2 for 12 in that game. He was 1 for 6 in the first half, but makes his first attempt here in the second half. Strong first half for Tyler Harris. He led Providence in scoring. 5 on the shot clock. Gives it up. Batts will try an 18-footer out of his range, and it's Raphael Putney who corrals the rebound. 3 on the way from the corner, too strong by Carter, but second effort by Putney again. Lane. Third time is a charge for UMass.
The offensive glass, I mean, you saw it in that possession there. That's where they have an advantage. Batts has 2 fouls, remember, so he might be hesitant to pick up a third, but when UMass comes with a 6'9" small forward there in Raphael Putney, that gives them a huge advantage on the glass.
Batts will try again.
So I think this is an opportunity where you can try and go to Lane. We talked about Batts having those 2 fouls. Get the big fellow a touch one-on-one on the block.
Whose responsibility is that? Is it just Williams?
Well, I mean, I think that's what Derek Kellogg was telling to him was, hey, let's get the big fellow the basketball. I mean, anytime you have a guy that's got 2 fouls here early in the second half and you have an offensive post player with the skill set of Lane, get him some touches.
Had a career-high 27 points earlier this season. It was a quiet first half for Caddy Lane. just 4 points. He's got back-to-back hoops there, and a foul called on Derek Gordon. Second on Gordon. Cotton calls his own number. Providence has yet to connect from behind the arc. They're 0 for 8 in this game. Williams drops it off. Again, they get the big fella involved, and Lane has a chance at a three-point play.
Yeah, I think Caddy Lane is their second most important player, UMass. The most important, that guy right there with the nice bounce pass. Because of his ability to score one-on-one on the block, he can run the floor. He's dropped weight since he's been here at UMass. It gives them a double-double guy in the paint.
Part of an 8-0 run for Chaz Williams and the UMass Minutemen. They've opened up their largest lead of the game at 6. We're back inside the Mullins Center. Kevin Connors, Kara Lawson, Amherst, Massachusetts. And the UMass Minutemen a 6-point lead, rekindling this regional rivalry. And there have been some memorable meetings, but the night Doc went for 27 and 28. Must have been fun to watch, Kara.
That was his first game. I mean, that was his first collegiate game. Dr. J, of course, Marcus Camby on those teams in the mid to late 90s. Lou Rowe. How about Al Skinner? I mean, one of Ed Cooley's mentors. Al Skinner with his number in the rafters here at the Mullins Center.
And of course, two of those players, Lou Rowe and Marcus Camby, were college teammates of Derek Kellogg. Julius Irving out of Roosevelt, New York. What an impact he had on this campus and on the game of basketball as a whole. UMass has struggled at the line. They're just 2 of 7 from the free throw line in this game, but they have their largest lead. Providence goes back inside to Harris. Second effort by Batts.
A nice step play out of the timeout there for Providence. Get Harris a look on the block, and Batts doing a great job on the offensive glass.
And they are making a concerted effort to go to the lane. Took one too many steps that time. We talked about Derek Kellogg as a player. He's described as an overachiever, Kara.
That's tough. Tough as nails. Tough as nails as a point guard. Played under John Calipari here from 92 to 95. And, of course, grew up, went to high school in Springfield. So a local guy that has helped bring UMass back on the national stage.
Married a UMass alum, went to the tournament 4 times. In his playing career, 1-11-24 record. He did not lose many games under John Calipari in his playing days at UMass, and he's got the Minutemen back in the top 25. Williams, front iron. 2 Providence players going for the ball, and it's batted away. And now a turnover forced by Providence. Cotton, pull-up jumper. He just has not found the range yet.
You know, it's been tough, and he's been matched up with different players, but Derek Gordon is a player that he averages double figures for this UMass team, but he's really helped up their level on the defensive end. He's their best perimeter defender, and he gives them an opportunity to win low-scoring games like this because he's a lockdown defender.
Williams, good-looking head fake. Basket will not count. It's waved off. They say he took one step too many. His coach, the former point guard, begs to differ. Coaches always do. 37-33, UMass on top. UMass picking it up in the second half. They lead the Providence Friars 37-33. 15 minutes, 18 seconds to go here in the second half. Kevin Connors and Kara Lawson, and we talked about Derek Kellogg and what he meant to this program as a player. And now Kara, a UMass man, turning around this UMass program as the head coach.
He's done a terrific job as the head coach, and you know, you see the NIT appearances they've had, and this is a team that wants to get back to the NCAA tournament. 1998 is the last time, and this is a team I think that Derek Kellogg believes can get to the NCAA tournament.
By the way, how about our crew here going with the black and white photos of Derek Kellogg's playing career? Like it was so long ago. It wasn't that long ago, right? They're the color photos of Derek Kellogg as a player. And this team is out rebounding Providence 29-17. One of the big reasons why they've opened up a 4-point lead here in the second half. Fans wanted to travel on Harris. I think Ed Cooley's team is content to run their sets, run some time off the clock.
Absolutely.
Harris fires the three. Good box out that time by Lane. UMass pushes. Williams gives it up. Second chance down low by Carter.
DeRozier's been a difference maker on the defensive end when he's been in the game. I mean, you would think in this type of matchup he might be a little bit limited athletically, but he's been a force.
Big time block by Lane, and UMass has numbers ahead of the field. And it's Sampson. Carter lays it in.
That score enables them to set up their pressure, and their pressure, look at Putney and look at Carter. I mean, that is length at the top of your zone, at the top of your pressure, I should say, and so it's very hard sometimes for these guards to see over.
Carter with 9 points and 10 rebounds for UMass. 6-point lead matches the largest lead of the game. Henton with the much smaller Williams on him. 10 on the shot clock. 5 on the shot clock. Harris, contested three. Not even close. And a 35-second shot clock violation, but the ball did hit the rim. Not on a shot, didn't reset the shot clock, and a turnover. Good defense by UMass. Williams still has not cracked the scoring column, or the field goal column, rather, and a whistle and a foul away from the ball. It's on DeRozier, his second. Williams splits defenders, drops it off. Lane fouled on the attempt by Henton. Kara, you talked about it. Jazz Williams has not had the scoring game that we're used to, but he's just so good at getting others involved.
Yeah, he's drawing multiple defenders there when he drives, his ability to get by, and I think one of the differences in the half-court offense to UMass from first half to second half is they're trying to be aggressive to get into the lane and drive. We saw Carter with a strong drive and a finish. We're seeing Williams in the half court get into the lane and draw and kick. And the more of that you see, I think that's imperative for them moving forward. Execution in the half court as teams try to slow them down on the offensive end.
Largest lead of the game now for UMass. How does Providence find an answer offensively?
They just need to be patient. When they were patient in the first half, they got quality looks. Certainly getting Bryce Cotton some quality shots at the basket. You're going to have to do that because I don't think you win. You come in here and beat UMass without him having a big part to do with it on the offensive end.
Bats to Hinton down low before the one-handed finish. They've got a foul. The players exchanging words.
We saw this in the first half, taking advantage of the matchup, and if Williams gets caught on one of the forwards there for Providence, they're going to attack that matchup, another drop-down pass, and that's what I'm talking about. Be patient. Be patient, make UMass work on the defensive end. Something will come to you, and attack the offensive glass.
That's the second foul called on Chaz Williams. Just the second team foul. It's kicked out of bounds by Raphael Putney.
You know, I always think it's important to stay attached. You know, and Providence is down 8, and not that they don't have guys that can score or get it going, but the type of game this has been, this is a danger zone for them. They can't allow it to get out of hand.
Dangerous pass, and Williams intercepts it. Davis. The lead is up to 10.
And that's why he takes that timeout, because you know this is a danger zone here. Double-figure points. Your Providence only 33 points scored in the game. You need to regroup, execute on the offensive end, and not let UMass get loose after missed shots. See, this is just after missed shots, and Trey Davis, a guy you don't want to leave alone, shooting the basketball. And for Providence, I thought their transition defense was pretty solid in the first half. Where I think there's been some gaps in the second half is if you're a post player for Providence, you have to get back as fast as you can after you go to the offensive boards, because their players can get, UMass guards can get by one-on-one. You kind of have to play gaps in transition if you're post and gap up those guards, not allow them to get into the lane, because UMass is looking to be ultra aggressive the first 7-8 seconds of the shot clock.
Now Providence led throughout much of the first half, but UMass has picked up with the three-quarter court pressure, and a difference between what they've done offensively here. 55% from the field. They've gotten much easier looks here in the second half. Big reason why the lead is 10. Break the pressure. Cotton, the only Providence player in double figures. He has 10. Hinton drives, and an offensive foul called on LaDante Hinton.
Yeah, LaDante Hinton, I mean, the play there was to look to get fortunate post up with Williams. That's why they ran that kind of slice cut, and he's got to let the play develop. I mean, if Ed Cooley calls a play, he's probably looking for a specific matchup or a specific look, and I thought that was just a force the issue play by LaDante Hinton, and it results in a turnover.
Well, the jacket is off on the Providence sidelines for Ed Cooley as Chaz Williams not on the same page as Trey Davis. Eleven turnovers for UMass. Karras called it danger time here for Providence, down 10. Friars have still yet to connect from behind the arc in this game. Karras will try it. And Williams will push the tempo. Chaz Williams from one end of the floor to the other. A lot of contact and nothing. And now Providence with numbers. Hinton breaking a drought for the Friars. LaDante Hinton cuts the lead to 8.
Much needed bucket there. Nice decision. He saw that Trey Davis was the only one back, so the size and the strength of Hinton to finish there and not risk a lob pass.
Davis working on Fortune, pull-up jumper. What an afternoon it's been for Trey Davis.
How good has their bench been? I mean, it was Maxi Esho there in the first half, giving them points off the bench. Now Trey Davis here in the second half. Good performances.
Friars break the pressure, and then the ball is batted out of bounds by Esho. 10-point lead for the UMass Minutemen. Davis with 10 off the bench.
Parker that are going to improve.
Who's the best team in America in your opinion right now?
Ooh. I would probably take Syracuse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotten a lot of contributions from players they didn't necessarily count on. Trevor Cooney, one of them, and Kadeem Batts, a player Ed Cooley's counting on. He's counting on anyone on the floor right now. Depth a concern for Providence, but they cut the lead back down to 8. UMass in the home gray, Providence the road white. Here's Lane working on Batts, and that's been an emphasis in the second half.
Yeah, I just think UMass has been much more relaxed and much more purposeful with their half-court execution here in the second half, and that's why they've had a great deal of success. You know, we talked about this at the top. There's so much balance for UMass on the offensive end. There's a lot of players that can hurt you, and you have a point guard like Chaz Williams. He figures out who is going good, and he tries to get them the basketball.
Here's Bryce Cotton, still nothing from behind the arc for Providence. They're 0 for 11 from three-point range in this game. Boy, Davis misfires. Harris, Providence with numbers, and a two-handed throwdown by Tyler Harris. Rare, easy opportunity for Providence.
Yeah, Providence, you have to get steady here on the defensive end in the half court. You controlled that first half, that tempo, because of your half-court defense. You got to get it together here.
Chaz Williams bats the block, and the Friars again, nobody back for UMass, and Bryce Cotton has cut the lead to 6.
One of the things that Ed Cooley talked about with his team is, you know, we have to run off of turnovers. We have to run off of misses. That's our opportunity to try and get the tempo up. And, you know, for this team trying to make this comeback, half-court defense is paramount. And the fact that they're getting a couple turnovers and able to run and get some easy buckets, that's huge.
No defensive balance there for UMass, right? It's Williams off the dribble. That's nothing new, but 2 easy opportunities.
Yeah, well, a lot of times when the point guard drives, that's when transition defense breaks down, because everyone's so used to that point guard being back, being that last line of defense. Your 2 guard, whether it's Trey Davis or even your 3 player, depending on where they are on the floor. I think it was Trey Davis both of those times. He's got to get back.
The bigs making a difference for Providence. You saw the block shot numbers. 7 blocks in this game for the Friars, compared to just 2 for UMass. Friars hanging around here with the number 23 team on their home floor. Sellout in this building. You want to start the new year off on the right foot, and you want to finish the year on the right foot as well. And UMass, just a 6-point lead here. Williams, deep 3 this time, and the first field goal of the game for Jared Williams. He lost the headband, and he connects on his first field goal, a 3. Bats to Harris down low, and they pick on the size advantage. Lane working on Goldsboro, bats the rejection, second blocked shot by Providence. Henton in transition, in and out, but Ladante Henton to the free throw line for a pair.
You have to love the way the front line of Providence is battling. I mean, they are battling on the glass. They are trying to make everything difficult for Caddy Lane. He's gotten loose here a little bit in the second half, and then the quick outlets, and Henton is kind of leaking out. He's realizing that there's There's some gaps. There's some openings here in UMass's transition defense. He's getting some easy looks.
Now that UMass transition defense, or lack thereof, has led Providence back into this game. Dante Hinton, a junior out of Lansing, Michigan. I love reading the bios and the backgrounds of players, their high school careers. He's the 4th player from mid-Michigan to score 2,000 points in his high school career. The others, Marcus Taylor, Zane Gay, and Magic Johnson.
So that's a pretty good list.
Select company. Williams lobs it up the lane. Can't bring it in. And here's Cotton. Bryce Cotton. The lead is back down to 4. And a sellout crowd here inside the Mullins Center trying to get UMass back in it. 10-point lead has been cut to 4. Williams has it taken away. 10 on the shot clock. Davis spinning, wild attempt. And it'll be Providence basketball.
We knew this would be a battle of point guards. True scorers. Chaz Williams gets going, his first field goal of the game, but Providence not to be outdone, and Bryce Cotton is trying to lead them back. They're down 4. Cheer at UMass prior to Derek Kellogg taking over.
And an example, Marcus Smart, an example of players who stick around for another year in college instead of jumping to the NBA when he had the opportunity to do so, and he's improved his game. He's more of a well-rounded player now.
Well, you know, we all want instant gratification, right? I think that's society. And so when you see a team or a player that has as much talent as Marcus Smart, you think, well, he should go to the pros right away. And you know, these are young players, 18 and 19 years old, still a lot of growth, still a lot of maturity to have left. And take a look at Kentucky today, a great win for them. And they're going to grow. They're going to continue to improve. These players need to learn how to play college basketball and give consistent effort. You know, I think in college sometimes we talk too much about projections and what a guy is going to be instead of what a guy is right now. And sometimes we rank players in college based on what they could be as NBA players, and I don't think that's fair. It's fair for the NBA scouts to do that, but in terms of what they are right now, a lot of these guys will be high draft picks, but they might not be polished or finished products right now as collegians.
And it's the lure of people around these players telling them perhaps what they want to hear. And players don't develop anymore. And it's obviously a hot topic of conversation in college basketball. Should there be a mandate on how long players play if they come to college? Maybe a 3-year minimum is what some people have posed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I think it's hard to legislate. I would just say I think if they're good enough to go out of high school, they can go.
Wild pass by Harris, and Batts can't rein it in.
But I think you take a look at this UMass team, and I think this UMass team is a good example. What makes them, one of the reasons they're very good is their experience. I mean, they've got 2 fifth-year seniors in the starting lineup, another senior, and then Caddy Lalane's a junior. These are guys that have grown, they've developed, they've matured together, and that's a big reason why in moments like this in close games, they've got that ability because they have recall. They have recall from previous experiences.
Chemistry, such an undervalued aspect of team ball. 15 on the shot clock. Williams working on Goldsboro. Gives it up. Here's Putney. Corner 3. Almost hit the ceiling. And again, we've talked about UMass and how they played so well here in the second half, Kara, and yet here we are again. Providence a chance to cut this lead down to 2. Whistle and a foul on Chaz Williams, number 2 on him, 5th on the team.
Yeah, Providence is, you know, they really weathered that storm. You knew UMass had a run in them. I mean, they did not play offense indicative of what we've seen all season long. And they make a run, they go up double digits, and how about how Providence has responded?
Another foul, this time on Putney, and that's number 3 on him.
what you want to do if you're the Friars. Hang around, hang around, hang around, and get it to a one-possession game under 2 minutes, and you got an opportunity to steal one, a big one.
Against the number 23 team in America, Batts has not been able to find the range. Well, Putney thought about it. Baseline drive. 3 on the way by Carter, and UMass needed that. "12 points now for Samson Carter. The lead is 7. Quiet second half for Harris. Drops it off. 12-footer by Batts, too strong. One and done are the Friars. Three on the way, that time by Carter, and he may have pulled the trigger a bit too early. Harris.
Both teams a little bit fatigued. You see him walking up the court, offensive defense, a lot of up and down action.
And so the Minutemen will set the half court. Providence in the 2-3 zone now. 7-point UMass lead. Gordon splits defenders, drops it off. Lane. 2 on the shot clock. Deep 3 by Williams.
Only one field goal on the night for Chaz Williams, and sensing that they might have Providence on the ropes, and that's what you expect from your big-time senior, a big-time shot to stretch this lead back out to double digits.
He came into this game averaging 15.7 points per game. He's been distributing it well, has not scored it well up until that point, but the big three-pointer, Williams, is up to 7, and the lead is back up to 10. Part of a 6-0 run for Chaz Williams, who was shut out in the first half. He's been held to single digits just once this season, the Clemson game. But he's picked up the scoring, and UMass has the lead back up to double digits. Cotton. Second effort by Harris. Fouled on his way up by Williams, and Tyler Harris heads to the free throw line. The UMass Minutemen, number 23 in the country, in a dogfight with Providence. The lead back up to 10. All right, Anish, thanks very much. Back in Amherst, Massachusetts, UMass has opened up a 10-point lead on the Providence Friars. Chaz Williams getting hot from behind the arc. Kara, when does Providence start thinking about trying to pick up? We'll get to that in a second. Talk about news and notes here today. Number 2 Syracuse knocking off number 8 Villanova. 21 points for Trevor Cooney, and the first loss of the season, Kara, for Villanova.
I like Syracuse. I mean, they're a team that, with their matchup zone, can really frustrate you. And Villanova, we saw, got off to a really hot start in that game. But then Syracuse went on an 18-0 run. And Cooney and Ennis, I think that's a backcourt. The freshman Tyler Ennis, and we talk about the sophomore Trevor Cooney. That's a backcourt I think that's going to continue to get better and better and better. And of course, they have one of the stars in the country in C.J. Fair.
As Harris knocks down the first of 2, this is the best free throw shooting team in America, the Providence Friars. They shoot it at 82% as a team. When does Providence start thinking about picking up full court?
Well, you know, I think they will here, but the hard part is you don't have the guard play to be able to really pressure and trap and rotate. There's a number situation here. You've got some tired guys that have played a lot of minutes. You know, I think they can still play sound here with 3.5 left, get some stops, and be able to cut into this lead.
Williams looking for his shot more in the second half, and he'll work his way back to the foul line. First foul of the game called on Lee Goldsboro, 6th team foul on Providence. Williams is 77% free throw shooter on the season. And he's short. UMass as a team has not shot it well from the line in this game. Brooklyn, New York, Bishop Ford product. 1 of 2 from the line, and the UMass lead is 9.
Now you can't have the same level of patience that you've had the whole game on the offensive end. You've got to try and look to get something early.
Cotton does. Foul called on Gordon, and the Friars are in the bonus now, so a chance to cut into this lead with no time running off the clock for Bryce Cotton, who is a 91% free throw shooter.
And if you're UMass, that is what you don't want to do on the defensive end, is foul and put Bryce Cotton to the free throw line. Make Providence earn it, make them use some clock to do it.
Now you talk about the load on the shoulders of Bryce Cotton this year. 19 points per game, 5.5 assists per game. Top assist man in the Big East, the reigning scoring champion from the conference from a season ago. Friars led by 1 at the half. UMass is led by as many as 10 here in the second half. The lead is 7. Williams into the paint. Chaz Williams so good at carving through defenders.
See, that's the risk you take. If you extend the pressure like you talked about, then you've got a guy like Chaz Williams that can drive into the lane and really break your pressure down.
Henton, first three-pointer of the game for Providence, and they desperately needed that one. Friars 1 of 12 from behind the arc, and it is back down to a 6-point lead. Williams has it batted away, but it'll stay UMass ball.
You decide to extend pressure, and here's what happens. If you let a player off the dribble get behind your defense, now he's into the teeth, and he's going up against guys that aren't used to that type of athleticism in terms of guarding their man one-on-one.
Three-pointer by Carter is no good. Good position down low by Goldsboro, and a foul called on the lane. And it'll send Lee Goldsboro to the free throw line. He's attempted just 6 free throws this year. Does not see big minutes, but he has played a significant amount in this game. And again, with the clock stopped, has a chance to pull Providence to within 4.
Seen some offense-defense substitution by both coaches, but the reason Lee Goldsboro has been put into the game is Ed Cooley calls him our best positional defender, post player. So a lot of high pick. They want him in the game to try and help contain Williams.
Missed opportunity that time for the best free throw shooting team in America. Cotton on Williams. Under 2 minutes. Williams, another deep 3. And here come the Friars. Cotton working on Williams. Whistle and a foul, and Chaz Williams. And the sellout crowd here inside the Mullins Center did not like the call. Let's see if they had a point. Kara, he never even touched it.
Watch his feet, though. I mean, you're right. There wasn't contact up top, but if we could see that again, I think his feet, he tripped over his feet a little bit. I think that's what the referee called there, but that's obviously a huge foul in terms of it eliminating Chaz Williams from this game.
Chaz Williams has fouled out of this game with 1:36 to go. 10 points, 10 assists, but UMass now without their leader. And Kara, aside from the obvious, how does that impact Derek Kellogg's team?
Someone's going to have to attack the pressure. I mean, now if I'm Ed Cooley, I've extended some here early. I'm going to extend it even more and try and force one of those guys to make a play. I mean, what have we seen the last 4 or 5 offensive possessions for UMass? The ball in Chaz Williams' hands, high picked in the clock, him distributing. So they're going to have to attack these offensive possessions a little bit differently with him not on the floor.
And it sends a 91% free throw shooter to the line. Major development in this one. Chaz Williams has fouled out. The lead is 4, and Providence indeed does pick up full court pressure. And they almost forced the turnover. Instead, it's Carter. They'll say Batts slid on the floor for a traveling violation.
Why go right away? I mean, why go right away for Samson Carter? That's just a bad decision, and he gets lucky here because they're able to retain possession, but you have the lead and you have the clock on your side. Unless you have a wide open layup, there's no reason to drive in there for a contested shot. They've got to either foul you or they've got to play honest defense for 35 seconds.
If you're just joining us, Providence led the number 23 team in America by 1 at the half. UMass started a house of fire in the second half, up the lead to double digits, but it's back down to 4. And Chaz Williams, the preseason Cousy Award nominee, has fouled out of this game. Called a foul on LaDante Hinton before the inbound. 7th team foul, and so Raphael Putney to the line for UMass. Putney, a 79% free throw shooter, has not attempted one in this game. Pressure free throws for the senior out of Woodbridge, Virginia, and he's short. What do you want to see offensively here?
Certainly Bryce Cotton with the basketball. Something for him to make a play.
Batts. Blocked by Putney, but it was on the glass. Goaltending.
Nice little ISO at the elbow there, and absolutely after it had gone off of the glass, goaltending. If you're Providence now, you can give a little pressure, but you play this straight up. I mean, you got a 1-possession game, you're down 2 points, no fouls if you're the Friars.
Davis gets it across. Putney now. And UMass will reset.
Who will make a play for the Minutemen? Their closer, Chaz Williams, on the bench. He's fouled out. Usually the basketball's in his hands down the stretch. Who's going to make a play for UMass?
This is Davis. 45 on the game clock. 5 on the shot clock. Desperation 3. And it is Providence basketball.
That basketball hit the rim. That shot clock should have been reset. That's an error at the table.
The officials are going to look at this one again. No question that the ball hit the rim. I wonder if they're going to take a look and see exactly who it was out on a second time.
It was a heave and it was desperation, but there's no question that this Samson Carter shot hits the rim. Should have been a reset right there, and it looks like UMass in pretty good position to corral that offensive rebound and either go back up with it or get a reset.
Trying to see who the ball went out on here on the replays. No question it hit the rim. Ed Corbett, Wally Ritecki, the officials talking it over. And it goes without saying, a pivotal call here, and we remind you the last 2 minutes of the second half in overtime, officials can determine if a shot clock violation has occurred or which team caused the ball to go out of bounds. And I'm not sure on the replays that we've seen so far, Kara, that we're able to determine who it was out on.
We just got to get a little more length here on the back end to see out of this replay.
And I think it was last touched by Lalane. It was Lalane.
It does look like Lalane. And remember, there has to be indisputable evidence to reverse the call. And I think on the floor, they did call it Providence ball out of that. So unless there's something indisputable about that evidence, it will remain Providence ball.
Ed Corbett, Wally Ritecki. Talking it over, and they're explaining the ruling right now to the official scores. They called the two coaches in together, and they may be looking to put more time back on the clock as well. The three-pointer was attempted at about 43 seconds. And this is going to stay Providence basketball. They're going to keep the time as it is. So Providence basketball, Kara, one possession game, down 2 points. What does Ed Cooley see here?
Try and get a quality look. I mean, not turn the basketball over. The last time they went to Kadeem Batts and looked for an ISO for him, but just run your offense. You have plenty of time, get a quality shot, attack the offensive glass if you're the Providence front court.
This is Cotton. Got a 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Batts and Cooley, before Batts made his move, called a timeout. Now, Providence is used to playing close games this season. 5 of their 12 games have been decided by 4 points or fewer. They're 4-1 in those games. They've kept the ball in Cotton's hands a lot here, Kara. What is Ed Cooley drawing up?
Well, with the situation there, they know he's going to gain a lot of attention. And so a lot of times, the player that is your number one option is going to open up an opportunity for somebody else. And we saw on those ball screen actions, what they're doing is they're staying with Cotton off of that post player. And so if he drags it out and can throw back like he did to Batts there, you get Batts against a defender that's either a mismatch or in a closeout situation. So they might look to run something for Cotton to get a clean look, but you have to think that UMass defensively is going to be locked into number 11.
Providence has no timeouts remaining. Both teams are in the bonus. Chaz Williams has fouled out, and the Providence fans who've made the trip over to the Mullins Center have a chance to see their team pull off what would be an upset.
Key here, if you're Providence, first things first, get the basketball in. You have no timeouts. You cannot afford a 5-second violation. Get the basketball in and then run your set.
Fortune will trigger in under his own basket. They do get it into Cotton. Watched by Gordon. Cotton to the basket, and we are tied at 59. Derek Kellogg's not going to call a timeout. Davis gives it up. Lalane has it blocked, and we are headed to overtime. Kara, how about the ability of Bryce Cotton to get to the basket?
What we talked about happened. I mean, he took off that ball screen and he tried to drag that post defender with him. And when you do that, you can attack their feet and you can get into the lane, and that's exactly what Bryce Cotton does. He's dragging the lane out. He's able to turn the corner. Nice finish and great little screen there by Kadeem Batts on the block. That's what you do in late game situations if you're Bryce Cotton, and what you don't do if you're Trey Davis is, I thought he was a little too casual bringing the basketball up the court there the last 8 seconds. I think you can push it a little bit more, and the type of shot he got, I mean, drive into the lane, force some action, force someone else to come and attack you. It's not a good possession for UMass, and now they have to be kind of worried because it's 5 more minutes without their best player, Chaz Williams, on the floor.
They had 3 timeouts remaining, Carol. Why didn't Derek Kellogg call timeout?
Well, you know, a lot of times I'm not in favor of calling a timeout in those situations because it also allows the defense to get set up. So with 8 seconds left, yes, you can draw up a play, but it allows Ed Cooley to get his best defenders potentially on the floor, set up in a way where you could trap. There's timeout on the court. Remember, you can't advance in college basketball, call a timeout in advance. So maybe in hindsight, Derek Kellogg, with access to the results and knowing what happened, he calls timeout, but I like to let him play there, especially because you don't let the defense to get set up.
Now the major storyline in this one, Chaz Williams, the 2-time first-team All-Atlantic 10-point guard for UMass, has fouled out. Providence closed the second half on a 13-3 run, and so without Chaz Williams, the number 23 team in America will try to win this game in overtime. UMass has not played an overtime game this season. Providence has. They beat Boston College back on November 8th, 82-78. Entered the lefty drive, not that time. Kara Winters, the offense come from here.
I think you got to look to Lane and Carter. I mean, these guys have done a good job in the second half as we see the turnover, but you just get the feeling that UMass is so unsettled on the offensive end. They almost don't know where to go to. Their tempo and their confidence a little shaken with Williams not on the floor. I like the substitution coming to the table now. Derek Kellogg going to insert Maxie Escher.
Here's Tyler Harris. Fortune now. Providence in their half-court set, 15 on the shot clock. Batts gives it up. Harris has it knocked out of bounds by the lanky Raphael Putney. We see Esho check in for Putney. No reset on the shot clock. Here's Cotton. Cotton spinning, short, good defense by UMass. And a reminder, those waiting for the Santa Clara Gonzaga game, it's about to start over on ESPN News. We will continue with that game here on ESPNU after our game in overtime, where Lane will head to the free throw line.
It seemed like it was a little bit of an unintentional post hit there, but Caddy Lane is the guy that I'd want to go to. I mean, he's got size advantage against Kadeem Batts. He's got some good post moves there on the block.
%70 free throw shooter. Chaz Williams trying to will his team to victory here. He's fouled out of the game. Nation's third leading assist man as Lane buries both free throws. This is Batts. Puts it on the floor, and Kadeem Batts will head to the line for a pair. First foul called on Maxie Esho, and here is Kadeem Batts, 72% free throw shooter.
We talked about the advantage that Lane has in the first half, or in the last possession, his size on the block. Well, that's the advantage that Kadeem Batts has on the offensive end with Lane guarding him, is his quickness, his face-up ability. ISO him at the elbow, he can get by.
We've mentioned it several times during this game. Providence, the best free throw shooting team in America. And Kadeem Batts has a chance to tie this game up again. First overtime game of the season for the Minutemen. Gordon, teardrop, no, and Fortune the rebound. Fortune tripped up, and a double dribble called. Now Josh Fortune was tripped up, and he regained possession, called for the double dribble.
See a little bit of size coming in. DeRozier's done a nice job defensively here in this game. A little bit of size. Kadeem Batts looks like he pulled up a little bit lame after that last drive. So some size, some length on Caddy the Lane.
Where does UMass go for offense without their leader, Chaz Williams, on the floor? Davis gives it up. Gordon into the paint. Trey Gordon extends the lead to 3. And this reminder, those expecting to see the Santa Clara Gonzaga game, you can see it right now on ESPN News. Cotton to Henton, free throw line jumper is short. Contact, and they'll call a foul on Derek Gordon. Sending Bryce Cotton to the line. 91% free throw shooter. The best free throw shooting team in America has just missed 2 in a row. Providence back to the full court pressure. As Harris, the old piggyback, called for the foul. Third foul on Tyler Harris. And here is Trey Davis, an 81% free throw shooter, to the line, shooting 1 and 1 for UMass.
Where does the offense come from? It's come from a little bit of everybody here in the overtime. We saw Caddy Lane. We've seen Derek Gordon with a couple nice drives, and of course Trey Davis manning that point guard position. He gets himself to the free throw line. Very confident stroke right there.
Fortune on the drive, a lot of hand contact, and it's a foul on Davis.
UMass is playing with great aggression on the defensive end, but it's really been a thorn in their side the last 2 possessions. Player with the basketball turns and faces up. It's got to be hands off. I mean, you can't touch him. And so Trey Davis was trying to impact the play, but These aren't good fouls. You're sending the best free throw shooting team in the country to the free throw line, even though he misses it. I think we're jinxing him, Kevin.
I think we are. I think we are. Fortune, an 85% shooter. We just saw Cotton, a 91% shooter, miss a free throw. And it's back down to a one-possession game. Davis breaks it. Esho thinks better of it. And now attacks the basket. Bats called for the hard foul.
Taking chances, and Josh Fortune takes a chance, and as a result, he leaves Kadeem Batts out to dry, and a hard foul. That's the second hard foul, and UMass players not taking a liking to the force with which Kadeem Batts has been fouling in the overtime.
Physical game. This is the rekindling of a regional rivalry here, and it's been as good as we've hoped it would be. Esho keeps it a one-possession game.
It's turned into a free throw shooting contest here in overtime. The execution's been about making pressure free throws.
Jazz Williams can only watch. Esho, a 58% shooter, misses both, and Providence now a chance to tie this game again. Harris, baseline drive. Second chance by Harris as he ripped it away from Lane, and Tyler Harris will shoot a pair.
We're seeing some great effort, and I love this play from Tyler Harris. This play is not aesthetically pleasing, but he just stays after it. I mean, he doesn't get a good look at the basket at first. He's surrounded by three great jerseys there in the paint. He just stays after it and wills his way to the free throw line.
Friars now 4 of 7 from the line in overtime. They were 12 of 14 in regulation. Harris 89% from the line. It is back to a one-point game as we near the 1-minute mark of overtime. Number 23 UMass. Final game for UMass of the calendar year, and they're trying to avoid losing for the second straight game. Gordon, the floater is too strong. Second effort by Esho. Dynamite effort by Maxi Esho. The lead is back up to 3. Back to the studio and Eddie Schroff.
All right, Kevin, a programming note for those of you who want to see Santa Clara Gonzaga. That's over on ESPN News. Santa Clara Gonzaga will resume on ESPNU once Providence UMass goes final.
All right, Anish, thanks very much. The UMass Minutemen, a 3-point lead, and it's powered by the athleticism of Maxi Esho.
Things weren't going well for UMass on the offensive end. What does Derek Kellogg do? He takes out Raphael Putney. He puts in Maxi Esho for moments like this. His energy, his bounce on the offensive end, big-time play. UMass with nothing going on that offensive possession. Maxi Esho gets something going for them, puts them up 3.
And so, Kara, it's back to a 3-point game, 47 seconds to go. Is that Cooley thinking 3 or the best opportunity?
I think best opportunity, and you're fine with the 2. Remember, UMass is not a stellar free throw shooting team, so you can play with the time that you have here, look to get a quick score if it's a 2, and then you can play the foul game and see if UMass gives you one back from the free throw line.
UMass with the advantage on the boards, both on the offensive boards and for the game, an 8-point rebounding advantage. Cotton hands to Fortune. 40 seconds to go. Cotton, an open 3. Bryce Cotton has tied it again at 67. Outstanding execution by the Friars out of the timeout, and we are tied with 25 seconds to play. 15 seconds to go. UMass with 3 timeouts. They don't call one. Davis working on Cotton. Second effort by Gordon.
Offensive rebounding. The last possession, it's Maxi Esho. This possession, it's Derek Gordon. Nothing going again for UMass in the ultimate offensive possession for them in this game. And Derek Gordon, Johnny on the spot right there. Big time play for the sophomore.
Began his career at Western Kentucky. He sat out last season due to NCAA transfer rules. He's a player who led the Hilltoppers in points and rebounds, led them to the Sun Belt Conference Championship and the NCAA tournament. He has given UMass a 2-point lead with 1.1 seconds to go. Carol, what do you draw up if you're Providence?
You know, you got to get a long pass, and one of your guys, I don't know if it's whether it's Kadeem Batts or LaDontae Henton. I mean, you could choose to get Bryce Cotton on the run, but he's probably going to get nothing better than a half-court shot. I think your best bet here is to throw it down to one of your guys, have him catch and turn and fire inside the three-point line.
Providence 10-2 on the season. UMass coming off the controversial loss to Florida State. Both teams haven't played in a week, and they have given us our money's worth here today.
They've got 6 players on the floor, Providence does, so that'll help you get an open shot. But UMass was trying to match up, and they kept seeing one man open.
Well, it would have been a nice strategy by Ed Cooley. Gave it the college try, and now Derek Kellogg has seen the Providence setup. He'll call a timeout. Well, if you're just joining us, this is how we got to this point. UMass led by double digits in the second half. At the key moment there, Chaz Williams called for the foul, his 5th. Providence down by 2 closing seconds. Bryce Cotton tied this game up, and then in overtime. The play of Gordon connecting on not 1, but 2 shots. Maxi Esho with the big putback. Cotton tied the game with the deep 3, but then just moments ago, Derek Gordon's second effort, putting UMass up by 2. 1.1 seconds to go here inside the Mullen Center. Lee Goldsboro will inbound. He can run the baseline after the Gordon make. Goldsboro into the arms of Hinton for the win. It's too strong. And number 23 UMass survives an overtime thriller. They got it into the hands of Hinton. The game winner was too strong, and Kara, UMass has dodged a bullet.
Big time bullet. I mean, when you look at the fact that Chaz Williams fouled out when he did, this is a team that had to play some pressure possessions on the offensive and defensive end without their leader. It's a big time win for the Minutemen.
Now the UMass Minutemen survive 69-67 in overtime. That'll do it for us from Amherst. Up next, more college basketball action. Santa Clara and Gonzaga. For Kara Lawson, I'm Kevin Connors. Enjoy.